Dear children, now we'll continue the chapter number 3 from physics, that is force. That's what? Force. Okay? Now we'll continue the chapter number 3, that is force, which we came to know is the pull or push on an object in the last class. Alright. Today we'll talk about the types of force. Okay? Types of force. Types of force. Types of force. Okay? Basically, there are two types of forces. Okay? There are two types of forces. They are contact forces and non-contact forces. Okay? Contact forces and non-contact forces. See. Basically, there are two types of forces. There are contact forces and non-contact forces. Alright? So, contact forces are those forces which need physical contact between the objects to bring about changes. Okay? Because forces bring about some changes, some effects which are discussed in the last classes. Okay, so to bring about such effects or changes, these contact forces need physical contact between the objects. Alright, for example, push, pull, friction. So all those are the examples of contact forces. Okay, pushing something, pulling something, closing a door, opening a door, kicking a ball. Okay, so are all those contact forces. Okay, where you find the objects having physical contact, so that the forces taking place there. Okay, forces being produced there. So they are the contact forces. Alright, then these contact forces are also further classified into number of types. Alright, so before going into it, let me tell you in very shortcut about this non-contact forces also. And just opposite to the contact forces, these non-contact forces are those which need no physical contact between the objects. Okay, so there we see the force from a distance of the objects. Okay, where no physical contact of the objects is needed in the case of non-contact forces. Alright, so we'll talk about these non-contact forces after the completion of the contact forces. First, we'll talk about the contact forces, its types, then we'll talk about the non-contact forces as well. Alright, so first we'll talk about the contact forces. So as I've told you, contact forces are those forces which need physical contact between the objects to bring about some changes or to bring about some effects. So that is your contact forces. I've told you some of the examples, push, pull, okay, are the examples of contact forces. Like you see closing a door. When you close a door, what happens is that your hand and the door need to have the physical contact. So your force is going through your hand, okay, to the door. So that means your hand and the door are having the physical contact. Then only the force from your hand is going to the door, so that the door is now open or closed. Okay, so opening a door, closing a door is also your contact force. Alright, or is the result of your contact force. Similarly, kicking a ball. When you kick a ball, see, your ball and your foot okay, your foot, okay, should be having a physical contact, because your force is going through your foot. So when you kick it, then your foot and your your ball are in contact. They are having the physical contact. So your force from your body is going through your foot. When it is in contact, then only the ball can move. So kicking a ball is also one of the examples of your contact forces. Now let's talk about types of contact forces. First we have mechanical force. Mechanical force. Okay, mechanical force. The force exerted by a machine is called mechanical force. See, force exerted by a machine. Force exerted by a machine. Please repeat after me. Force exerted by a machine itself is called mechanical force. Okay, it can be further elaborated if you want to go in depth, but for your standard, this would be the right definition for you. Okay, first, force exerted by a machine is called mechanical force. There are so many examples. You see, a car moves with the help of the mechanical force of engine. That means when engine applies the mechanical force, then only the car moves. Okay, in the same way, we have some other examples, like we have sailboat. Okay, sailboat propels the water when wind applies the mechanical force to it. In the same way, we have water wheel. Water wheel moves in water when water applies the mechanical force to it. Okay, these are some of the examples of mechanical force. Okay, same way we have frictional force. Frictional force or friction. Okay, the force between the two surfaces in contact is called frictional force. Okay, when the force is formed between the two surfaces in contact, okay, so that force is called frictional force. For example, let us say these two objects are there and both the objects have got the surfaces. Okay, when the surface of this object and the surface of the other object come in physical contact like that, a kind of force is formed in between these two surfaces, and that force is called frictional force. Okay, so frictional force has got a lot of advantages and disadvantages both in our life. All right, and we'll talk all about it afterwards. And here let me give you an example of this frictional force, which is very common to all of us. Okay, that is wear and tear of sole of a shoe. See, wear and tear of sole of our shoe is due to friction. You must have noticed the sole of your shoes. Okay, now it's already wear and tearing. Why? Because that sole always comes in contact with the the road or the surfaces on which you walk. Okay, so that's because of the frictional force formed between the sole of your shoes and the surfaces on which you walk. Okay, that is your frictional force. All right, now we have muscular force. Next is your muscular force. Muscular force. Muscular force is the force exerted by a muscle or through a muscle. Okay, when we apply some of the when we apply the force through our muscle or by our muscle, so that force is called muscular force. Okay, for example, you see all push and pull on an object. When we push something, when you pull something, closing a door, okay, opening a door, lifting something, in all these events we apply the force through our muscle. Okay, so this is also one of the, these are the examples of our muscular force. Not only this, okay, so even other animals, you see, animals like bullocks, okay, horses, camels, no, pull carts. Okay, people in those areas wherever it is possible, they put the loads there in the cars, and the animals are made to pull it, like bullocks, you see horses, camels, they pull all those cars with the heavy load on it. Okay, here also we see these animals applying the muscular force, applying the force through their muscles. Not only this, in Arctic regions, you see, in Arctic regions, reindeers, are made to pull the sledges, and these sledges serve as the passenger vehicles there in Arctic regions. Not only that, you see, even elephants pulling heavy log of wood. So in all these cases, we see these animals applying the muscular force. Okay, these are the examples of some, your muscular force, and these are the types of contact forces. I've told you they are your mechanical force, frictional force, and muscular force. Let us talk about the types of non-contact force. Okay, these are the types. Okay, these are the types of non-contact forces. All right, so we have got three types of non-contact forces. They are electrostatic forces, magnetic force, and gravitational force. Electrostatic force, magnetic force, and gravitational force. All right, so electrostatic force, the force exerted by an electrically charged object is called your electrostatic force. Okay, an electrically charged object can exert electrostatic force both on charged and uncharged object. Okay, for example, I can give you small demonstration. Here what you can do is that you just bring a plastic comb or a plastic pen and pieces of paper here, or beads of paper, you can bring on the other side. Then what you do, you rub this comb on your hair, on your dry hair, you rub this. So rubbing like this, what happens is that your comb gets charged and electrostatic force is formed. Okay, and when it is charged, then you bring this charged comb close to these pieces of paper. Okay, like that. See what you see, the pieces of paper get attracted to this. Okay, why? Because here the electrostatic force has been formed with which this is attracted. So you can also try out at your home. Just get a comb, take the bits of paper, and you try it out whether the given statement is true or not. That is your electrostatic force. Then we have got magnetic force. We have got now magnetic force. So magnetic force is very simple. The force exerted by a magnet. The force exerted by a magnet on a magnetic object. Okay, so its effect, the effect of the magnetic force can be seen on a magnetic object like. So for example, let me show you how it does, how it works. So I've got a small magnet. So when I bring close to this, see, when I bring close to this iron nail, okay, your iron, as you see out here, when I bring close to this, what happened? You see the nail getting attracted to the this one magnet. So why it is attracted? It is attracted because of the magnetic force exerted by this magnet. Okay, so this is your magnetic force. Now the third one is your gravitational force. So gravitational force is the force exerted by the gravity of the heavenly bodies. Okay, heavenly bodies. So not only the earth, but there are many heavenly bodies. So all the heavenly bodies have the force of attraction, which is called gravity. So the force exerted by the gravity of the heavenly bodies is called gravitational force. That's why you see where all, anything, whatever the things you see there on the earth are all attracted by the gravity of the earth. That's why if anything is fallen, so when I throw it up, let us say, when I throw this up, when I throw anything up, what happens? They all fall down to the earth. Why? Because they are all pulled downwards by the gravity of the earth. Alright, so when you fall also, when you fall, where do you fall? Do you fall there in the air? We fall there on the earth itself. So why? Because we are all pulled down by the gravity of the earth. So that is called your gravitational force. Okay, so in all these three examples of your non-contact forces, such as electrostatic, magnetic and gravitational force, what we have come to know here is that in all these cases, the objects, wherever we saw the effects of the force, okay, all those objects we found having no physical contact, having no physical contact. So from the distance only they can show the effect. The force can show some changes in the objects from distance only. That's the reason why they come under the non-contact forces. Okay, so that's all about the types of your non-contact forces, and we have discussed today the types of force, both contact and non-contact forces. Okay, today we'll do only this much. Before I wind up, I'll give you some homework. Okay, define electrostatic force. Okay, magnet. Then I'll add some more frictional force, right? Mechanical force. All right, please do this as your homework. Okay, so today we'll do only this much. Please try to go through this video again and again so that you understand it. All right, so whenever the school resumes, we'll go through it once again so that we understand it 100%. All right, thank you so much.